Hello everyone, my name is Droogie Forever, and today I just wanted to give you an update on, the channel and stuff, but more importantly, why videos are happening less and less lately. It's because I'm in development mode. If some of you know, some of you don't, that I've been making my own video games. I made 2 fan games in the Wolfenstein 3D engine, one for Twin Peaks, which took me about 3 months to make and was only a single level and had some issues, and then a Silent Hill fan game that took about 6 months, had 3 levels, and was much more polished and was a better experience overall. And yeah, like 15% of the people that look at that page download that game, whereas with Twin Peaks only like 5% do. So like Silent Hill's doing like 3 times better basically. And I worked 3 times harder on it. Well, the next game is a commercial release. The next game is going to be the first project where I've charged money, and it is a Game Boy and PC game, mainly Game Boy, but of course you'll be able to play it on PC. I do plan to put it on Steam, and it's supposed to be out September 30th. I really hope I can hit that release date. I'm gonna have to work really hard. It will be total by the time it comes out about a year's worth of work. So because I started it when Silent Hill finished. So I wanted to just show you some of the work that I've done so far. I'm mainly going to be focusing on backgrounds today, background art, but I am also going to show you the detective sprite, mainly stuff I've showed off on Twitter, but I just wanted to do a video so that you guys know I'm not just being lazy and not doing videos anymore. I just don't have as much time for playing games because I'm making them. And I actually have 3 games in production at the moment, but the other 2 are not even close to done, and I'm not ready to talk about them yet in a super detailed way. But the 4th one, which was supposed to be 3rd and 1st, I keep pushing it back, is a platformer starring a dog, a husky to be specific. My husky passed away in February. He was a massive, huge part of my life. I bonded with him like I never bonded with anything before, and I've been devastated since he passed away. And I had a game that was supposed to be my first game about this dog, and it was kind of inspired by this movie, The Bear, which is where this like bear cub is like lost in the woods and his mom's dead and stuff, and he ends up eating these crazy mushrooms because he's starving. He ends up tripping balls, and like hunters are trying to get him, and it's a crazy movie. It's really good. It's from like the late 80s, has very little dialogue in it, but I saw it when I was a kid and I liked it, and I've had this idea. So the idea for the platformer is basically that the owner leaves and something happens to the owner while he's gone, and they live in the game set in Canada, and the dog ends up getting out of the house to try to find his owner because it's been a couple days and the dog's worried about him. So he goes off on this adventure through the woods, and much like the bear, this is the catalyst for the game. He eats these mushrooms because he's fucking starving, and he starts like tripping balls. So it's like a horror game after that, like a horror platformer, where everything turns absolutely insane. And then at the end, you're going to find out what actually happened. What was he actually fighting? What was he actually doing while he was tripping balls? And you'll find that out at the end of the game. And then the 5th game is a 3D horror game. But anyway, and that's the big one, which I have not talked about the plot at all with like anybody. I've been keeping it under wraps because I am most proud of what I have written for that 5th game, because I was a writer and musician long before I ever worked on video games, and what I have written for that 5th game, the 3D horror game, the big one, that's my dream game, is the best thing I've ever written by far. Like it's not even a contest. It is absolutely amazing. I love it, and I want to make it perfectly, which is why I've been working on smaller projects. But anyway, I need to learn how to do a launch. I've already learned how to do a launch and keep a release date for a fan game. Now I'm going to try it for a commercial project. Then the platformer is being made in Unity, so that's going to teach me Unity. And then the 3D game will come after that, hopefully after I learn enough about Unity to actually make a 3D game. So anyway, that's a long way off. So let's start with this one. So now I've switched to, this is a game engine called GB Studio. And GB Studio is specifically to make Game Boy games. And the hardest part about making Game Boy games is that backgrounds only use 4 shades of green, as you can see here. The darkest one looks black, but it's not. It's actually green. And it's very difficult because only, like, so this is a 160 by 144 pixel image. That image is then, in Game Boy's mind, separated out into these little 8 by 8 tiles. You cannot have more than 192 unique tiles. So if you're looking at this image and you see, okay, so this is like all one shade, but this tile has this little black thing on it. Well, no other tiles match that tile, so that's a unique tile. And then this is a unique tile, but there's a couple of those, so it duplicates that tile. It's able to duplicate those and count it as one tile. So anywhere you see like black or like, you know, dark green, that's all counted as one tile. So that helps keep the tile limit down when I'm doing these backgrounds. I use a lot of dark or a lot of light, depending on the image, and that helps keep the tile count down. But when I first started, I thought the engine would throw an error and tell me when my tile count was too high. It doesn't. I did finally find where it shows you how many unique tiles you have, but it just kind of says it below the image in like tiny text, and you don't even realize, oh, okay, I've got 300 unique tiles in this image. It'll never work on a Game Boy ever. So then you have to go through and remove detail and do all this stuff. So anyway, this is an image of somebody in a bedroom. The detective that's the star of the game, he is investigating a murder, and he has a witness to the murder. But the problem is, oh, and I just realized you probably couldn't see my mouse then, huh? So this was the tile I was talking about that can be duplicated, and all these can be duplicated, and it counts this as one tile. So if this is a tile and it's duplicated across, it counts all that as one tile. But you'll see like this one, this tile has a spot of something in it. That's not duplicated anywhere else. This one up here that has that tiny black on top of it, that's not duplicated anywhere else. So that's a unique tile. This is a unique tile. This is a unique tile. This is one tile, basically. It counts all this dark stuff as one for the most part. But yeah, anywhere you see detail, then you start getting into that's a unique tile, that's a unique tile, that's a unique tile. So it adds up very quickly. So anyway, on to the rest of the stuff I wanted to talk about. So anyway, I've done a ton of background art. A ton. I've done a little bit of sprite work, and now the hardest part is trying to make gameplay and build levels. And the music. The music is kind of hard because the Game Boy only makes like 4 sounds, 4 different types of sounds, but at different like pitches or whatever. So it's insanely difficult to put like atmosphere into a broody horror detective story when you're using this crazy chiptunes music. That's been like the biggest challenge, is the music so far. Everything else is coming together pretty nicely. The music has taken me a little longer than I was hoping, and building the levels out's taken a little while, but it's not too bad. I should hopefully be able to hit my release date. So anyway, so it'll be made in GB Studio, and it basically creates a ROM that you can then load onto a Game Boy, and it'll work. And I'm going to test it on an actual Game Boy before I finish it, you know. I'm going to keep testing it, make sure everything works right and looks right and all that good stuff. But then I can also make an executable out of it, and you can run it on, you know, Steam, itch.io, whatever. Doesn't matter, anything PC related. So it's going to be coming to itch.io, Steam, and hopefully, you know, like this, you know, is not a given, but I'd love to make a physical out of it. It'd be great. There's lots of people doing physical Game Boy games now. So anyway, let's show you some more of what I've worked on. So this is a background of this lady in a room. This detective is he's researching a murder. He's trying to solve this murder. The problem is he has a witness, but that witness has gone missing in their hometown of Hayden's Peak, and that's the name of the game, Hayden's Peak. It's very much inspired by Twin Peaks and a little bit of Silent Hill thrown in. So the detective goes there to try to find the witness because he needs this witness so they have a case. And along the way, he meets the town's cast of colorful characters that'll help or hinder your investigation. And then things get crazy the further he looks into this. So anyway, this is like a dark bedroom shot where he's like terrified. He sees somebody in there and he's like terrified because he knows this thing's not human. The sprite, let me see if I can show the sprite. All right, so this is what the detective will look like. And if you're wondering why why is this so bright green right here, that's because Game Boy treats anything that's this color as like see-through. So like if I put this here, Game Boy will not show that on screen. If I put a different color there, Game Boy will try to match that to the closest shade that is allowed. So it will actually try to make it like one of these colors. But because this is this specific color, it will just like act like that's transparent. So this is my detective with his hat and his coat. He's got a black hat and a black coat. I was honestly thinking about taking the hat down further so that his eyes are like almost completely covered. But I've tried, because this is well, I blew this up to a much bigger block, but it's actually a 16 by 16 block normally. This is much bigger. It would look very tiny on the screen if I hadn't blown it up so you guys could see it. But using a 16 by 16 block to make unique sprite characters is actually insanely difficult because there's only so much space to work with. So if I go right now to pencil in a block, well, I forgot. This is a, god damn it, this is a much bigger than 16 by 16, but it would color in this whole block right here. So if I click down, it would color in that whole block, and then this is a block, and then that's a block. So you have very few to work with. 16 by 16 is what you have to work with when you're trying to make a sprite, and it's very difficult. It was a lot more difficult than I thought it was going to be to do my detective. But anyway, that's probably what he's going to look like. So let's go through some more of these images that I've done. The background art. Here, I'll zoom in. All right. I zoomed in on the other one too. So this is a bloody toilet. Obviously it's very difficult to do blood and green, so I just tried to make it as dark and kind of gruesome as possible and just put like lots of it down here so that you would kind of understand that it's you know, a gruesome scene. Let's see. Oh, this is a creature. I don't know if I'm going to use this or not, but this is a creature with an eyeball. It's like a maggot type creature with an eyeball. I thought he kind of looked cool, but then I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to use it or not. We'll see. Oh, this is the priest at the church who believes that the detective has brought the horrible events upon the town. He believes the detective is responsible for the things that are happening, and that if he will just leave, things will go back to normal, so to speak. This guy is a real pain in the ass, and I hate it. I'm not a fan of super religious people, which is why the religion's usually going to be kind of not like an enemy, but an antagonist for sure in a lot of my work, because I'm just not a massive fan of anybody who's that diehard religious. The detective smokes a lot, so this is a cigarette scene that I thought was really cool, and I posted it right before Easter. I put an Easter egg in this image and another image, and nobody commented on it at all. I was hoping it would spark some kind of, you know, search or something. But anyway, there's a number 8 in this image, and if you're a fan of Twin Peaks, you might know what the number 8 in smoke means. So that's one Easter egg. There's a couple in some of my images. This is someone's hiding under a bed from someone, and the door opens kind of menacingly. So this is that scene. This is a kind of a rundown mansion at night. The detective is searching around. He finds this mansion. This is the detective in the woods. I have a lot of images of the detective in the woods, and it's actually raining. I gotta go through and take out these fucking spare pixels. I don't know what happened there. Something compressed it when I went to save it, and it put these little light pixels in here. They're not supposed to be there. But the way it's kind of like coming down like this, I kind of wanted to like show rain, but it's really hard to show rain on a Game Boy. So I might work on it a little bit more, because I had to take detail out of, you know, a lot of this so that I could get the tile count down. But that's also why my detective's in silhouette. That's why a lot of the characters are going to be in silhouette, so that I can keep the unique tile count down, and I can do more detail on the backgrounds. So the characters will be in silhouette a lot, especially the detective. So here's one of him out in the mountains. All right, here's one of him in the forest again. I did a lot of these forest scenes because he's going to be in the woods a little bit in this game. So I did a good many of these trying to figure out what I liked. I'm not going to use them all, but um, yeah, I've done a good many of these. This one I think is one of the ones that's a little too detailed. I'd have to go check, but I'm pretty sure this one wouldn't work on an actual Game Boy. I almost switched to Game Boy Color at one point just because it allows 256 unique tiles, but then I changed my mind and switched back. Don't worry, we'll get through the detective scenes here in a minute. So a lot of these are just him looking around, trying to figure out what's going on. This is actually him at a cabin. You can barely tell, but this is a cabin here in the background. Um, all right, so I did some of these when I was first thinking about adding a face, and I would just kind of have his face just kind of in the dark, you know, a little bit, just covered up. But now I don't know if I'm going to keep the face in some of these. You'll see some more of that style. This one, oh yeah, this one had these weird spare pixels here. I don't know what happened there. I guess when I went to duplicate it and there was some kind of weird compression pixel on there, so I need to go through and get rid of all those, but we'll figure that out. Oh, here's one that looks really good in the rain. This was one I actually figured out how to make it look right. The other one's a little bit off, but this one looks pretty good, I think, because it actually looks like not just up here, but like actually through the background, I made it look okay. Like it kind of looks like rain. So I think this one looks pretty decent. I like it. Here's another one where I tried to do part of a face. Um, and for the ones that have the face, the problem is I found pictures online that I then kind of like tried to follow along with a little bit. So I don't know if I'm going to use any of these because it's kind of pretty close to pictures that exist online. I don't want anybody to think I stole anything, but I was just kind of doing these as like a test. These first images where you can see part of a face, these were all like the test images from the beginning. So I don't know if these will be used at all, but they're still in the folder just in case I decide to use them. This was one, yeah, this was one of the first ones I did, and this was based on an image I found online, just like the others. So I don't know if I can use this, but this I think is the most I've shown of the detective's face. But silhouette works better because it keeps the tile count down, and I don't know if I want to show his face anyway. So we'll see, but we're almost done with this test batch of images, but yeah, there he is again. All right, so here's one where I first started to do silhouette. This was like the first silhouette image, and I was like, oh, that looks decent, but it's too dark. So I needed to do more, light images to try to get it down. How did the same image come up again? Oh, okay. This one is a ceramic baby doll mask face thing that he finds in the dirt on the bank of the river. So I'm not going to tell you why or what or how or anything, but that's what that is. Oh, this is my logo done in Game Boy style. You can find that on my Twitter page now. I've changed my profile to this picture because we're doing Game Boy now. This is an old World War One or World War II style gas mask. This image got compressed somehow, so I'll have to take a look at it and see what the hell happened there. But you can see all these weird pixels that aren't supposed to be there in between the detail, and you can kind of see it around the edges. So I don't know what happened there, but that picture got way too pixelated. This was the original practice title screen I made just to see if it would work on a Game Boy. This is the newest one, I think. I had to take out so much detail from the mountain. It really pissed me off. I had to take out so much detail. It was crazy how much detail I had to take out of this image. It looked way better before, but I don't know. Anyway, this is what it looks like now. I'll probably keep refining that as we go. This was the second one I made. This is what the second one looked like, and I was like, that's too pixelated. I don't like that. But it worked as a test image for a little while. This is a hotel that he goes to stay in, and I imagined the man who greets him, kind of like the fireman from Twin Peaks: The Return. They call him the Giant, I think, in the first two seasons. But the real tall guy, I wanted somebody like super tall. I had to remove a lot of detail out of this image too, but it's in places where you don't really care. I had to remove all the detail out of the rug, some of the detail out of the steps, and then at the top of the steps here, I had to remove detail to get enough to get it under the tile limit. But it works now. It actually does work on a Game Boy now. This is his hotel room, which I think I still need to work on. I think this is one that needs detail taken out of it so I can actually get it to fit. Um, oh, and then this is the one I switched to, I think. This is the one I took some detail out and put the detective in it like he's walking into the room. So I think that's probably the one we'll go with, but you can see I had to take out an awful lot of detail and then put the detective in there. So I think this is the one we'll probably go with. So I guess I did fix it. Oh, this is my little guy that passed away in February. He's going to be the only character I think that has a face in the game, other than the sprites. I mean, like in the background art. And you're going to run into him in the game several times. He's going to be like the detective's good luck charm. So I just did some Game Boy art of some pictures I had of Nova laying around the house. Um, this is when he was a puppy. So I turned him into a Game Boy character. And this is one of the pictures that I'm definitely going to use in the game. I got this one down under 192, so this one I'm definitely going to use. That's my little guy. Oh, this is one of the newest backgrounds I made. The detective is kind of lost in the woods, and he comes out and he finds this preacher dude worshiping the sun or some shit. This like moon worshiper, and the detective's kind of grumbling about it because he's like, I don't get paid enough for this shit. You know, he finally finds rescue, and it's fucking this is what he finds. You know, he's kind of pissed off. He's been lost in the woods all night. This one I don't know if I'm going to use. Again, this is one that something compressed the image accidentally, and so now it's got all this fucking shit in it that I have to fix. But this is one that took me forever to make, and I actually had a lot more detail on the left side, and then I had to remove a ton of detail for it to get under 192. And then when I saved it, somehow it got compressed, and I was like, fuck, now I got to redo this whole image. And so I haven't gone back to it, so I don't know if I'm going to use this, but I do want to put a raven in the game, so we'll see. This is one of someone in a shower curtain, and you see a second set of hands pop up, and then the person like runs out of the bathroom because they're terrified. But this is like somebody pressing against a shower curtain, and then all of a sudden two other hands appear. This is the detective in the woods again. This is sorry to bother you, ma'am. So he's like tipping his cap down. That's what this is. It's kind of a hand, and he's at someone's door, and he's like, sorry to bother you. You know, so he tips his cap. I like that image. This is actually right now the image for, if you go to my Twitter banner, it's like Hayden's Peak coming September 30th or whatever, and this is the picture, kind of stretched out a little bit. But anyway, this is a newer one that I did that I don't know what I'm doing with it, but it's just kind of this dark room with a light. I envisioned it kind of like an interrogation room, but I don't know. We'll see. Oh, this is one that isn't going to work. This is one that has like a ton too much detail. I'm going to have to take a ton of detail out of this if I want it to work, but it's kind of an abandoned hospital that he goes into. This is one that has well, it doesn't exactly have a clue in it, but there is a clue there, sort of. I'm not going to go into that too much, but he walks into a room and there's just a light lighting up this piece of wall, and he's like, what the hell? And he walks over to it and he ends up finding something. But anyway, I won't go too much into that. This is my little guy. This is when the detective first meets him, and he's lost in the woods, and the little guy is going to help him get out of the woods, but he doesn't know that. To him, that's a wolf, and wolves are not good when you're lost in the woods alone. So he's scared, but he doesn't realize that that's my little guy. That's Nova. He's going to help him out of the woods. Here's a picture of just woods in general. In the rain. I think I did put the detective in it, but you can't hardly tell, so I don't know if I'm going to use that image or not. and then back to the bedroom. Okay, so that's all I wanted to show for this video. So anyway, that is why videos are kind of, you know, fewer these days, because I'm just working on this game. So I guess you can count this as a channel update and development blog for Hayden's Peak. So I hope you're looking forward to the game. I hope I can hit that release date. It's going to be crazy tight, but I'm going to work on it hard, and hopefully I hit it. And the Steam page should be up this summer so that people can wish list it. And yeah, I guess that's all for now. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, tell that like button you want to smash. And don't forget to subscribe. It really helps me a lot. You stay you, I'll stay me. Droogie forever. Thank you everybody so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And I will see you in the next video. Later.